Looking to explore France on your next holiday? Well, this country has more Michelin-star restaurants than any other country in the world. We already made a special video about the best restaurants in Paris, but if you plan to explore the rest of the country, we're here to help you by naming the best restaurants outside the city. We asked Andy Hayler, the only man to eat in every 3-star Michelin restaurant in the world, to choose his best restaurants in France, and here's his list.
The first restaurant I'd like to talk about is Triborough. Triborough is in Roanne, a fairly sleepy town not too far from Lyon, and since 1930 it's been a restaurant. It's been a really iconic restaurant probably since the 50s. It's now in the 3rd generation of chef, all of the Triborough family. The emphasis is on local ingredients from the area. The dish that I particularly remember on my last visit to Triborough was a beautiful John Dory dish. So fish cut into little cylinders and topped with black truffle. The quality of the fish cooking was extraordinary, and the truffles from Perigord were a particularly high quality. So the combination of the earthiness of the truffle and the absolutely pristine fish was just a gorgeous combination, and is a really good example of the kind of food you get at Triborough. My next selection is Pique in Valence, not too far from Lyon. This restaurant had 3 Michelin stars way back in 1933 when Michelin first introduced the system. And over the years it lost those, but it's now regained them under Anne-Sophie Pique. She offers both classical dishes, some of them recipes from her grandfather, but also more modern interpretation of French classical dishes. The pastry section there is fantastic, and I particularly enjoyed on my last visit there a chocolate arch with cherries, which was an amazingly beautiful dish, but also had fantastic balance. So Pique is one of the really elaborate, high-end temples of French gastronomy. My next selection is Bras. Bras is, well, it's in the middle of nowhere, basically, on the Central Massif, and it's way up on a desolate hillside in a very modern building. Michel Guerard is one of the most influential chefs in France and makes great use of the ingredients from the local area. So in particular, his signature dish is an extremely elaborate salad, if you like, but it's actually made with all kinds of different vegetables, maybe 3 or 4 dozen vegetables, cooked in different ways, prepared in different ways. Some cooked, some pickled, some raw, and this is a really great reflection of the local cuisine. So Bras is one of the most iconic destination restaurants in France. My next selection is Auberge de Vieux-Puy. Now this is in the south of France, not really near anywhere, in a tiny, tiny village, sort of vaguely accessible from Toulouse. It's a very rustic restaurant. It feels like you're eating in an old barn, but Gilles Goujon's cooking is anything but rustic. A dish I particularly enjoyed there last time was a fish soup, which sounds incredibly basic, but it really wasn't. The depth of intensity of the soup was extraordinary, and it was served with a beautifully cooked piece of red mullet. And this was just a fine example of hearty French cooking, bags and bags of flavour. So if you enjoy a sort of slightly more informal, rustic kind of take on 3 Michelin star cooking, then Auberge de Vieux-Puy is the place for you. My final choice, and my personal favourite, is Pré des Eugénies, which is in the southwest of France, south of Bordeaux and west of Toulouse. Here, Michel Guerard has been cooking for, well, a very long time. He is 83 years old, still in the kitchen, and he's had 3 Michelin stars for the best part of 40 years. His cooking style is very simple, taking the absolute best products of the Landes and other neighbouring areas and making the best of them without too much distraction. A slightly sophisticated take on just Landes chicken is his chicken Rothschild, where the chicken is laced with black truffle. And this is really almost about as far as he goes in terms of elaboration. The situation of the restaurant is very beautiful. It's in a little tiny village, and the culinary technique is really perfect. Guerard was a pastry chef, and no one has ever made better puff pastry than Michel Guerard. I highly recommend it to you.
Thanks, Andy. Those restaurants look amazing. If you want to enjoy more of our videos, go on foodiez.tv, or you can click below to see the best restaurants in Paris, the best Michelin dishes, or the best Michelin desserts. Enjoy.